The readings for Monday, May 22nd. The epistle reading is from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 17, verses 1 through 9. Now, when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a synagogue of the Jews. Then Paul, as his custom was, went into them, and for 3 Sabbaths reasoned with them from the Scriptures, explaining and demonstrating that Christ had to suffer and rise again from the dead, and saying, "This Jesus whom I preach to you is the Christ." And some of them were persuaded, and a great multitude of the devout Greeks, and not a few of the leading women, joined Paul and Silas. But the Jews who were not persuaded, becoming envious, took some of the evil men from the marketplace, and gathering a mob, set all the city in an uproar, and attacked the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out to the people. But when they did not find them, they dragged Jason and some brethren to the rulers of the city, crying out, "These who have turned the world upside down have come here too. Jason has harbored them, and these are all acting contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying there is another king, Jesus." And they troubled the crowd and the rulers of the city when they had heard these things. So when they had taken security from Jason and the rest, they let them go. All right, some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So for verse 1, the largest and most important city in Macedonia, Thessalonica was very cosmopolitan, possessing an excellent harbor and superior commerce. With the flow of goods, communication, and people to and from the city, word of what was happening there spread quickly, and the church there became highly influential. See 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 8. For verses 2 and 3, the word reasoned does not mean engaging in rational debate, for the proclamation of the gospel is not about winning intellectual arguments. Rather, this term indicates speaking or conversation about truths, ideas, or things that have been witnessed. Note how this term is used in chapter 20, verse 9. The English word dialogue comes from this same root. It's the Greek root word is dialogome, is what we've translated in this passage as reasoned. The Scriptures are the Old Testament writings. See the footnote at chapter 8, verse 35, and chapter 13, verses 17 through 41. For verse 4, devout, as used here, is a synonym of God-fearing. It was used to designate a Gentile who followed the precepts of the Jewish religion, but had not yet become a proselyte or full convert. See chapter 10, verse 2. For verse 7, the trumped-up charge that Christians claimed another king, Jesus, is reminiscent of the charges brought against Jesus of being a political king. Instead, Paul was proclaiming the kingdom of God, with Jesus as king. See chapter 14, verse 22, chapter 19, verse 28, and chapter 20, verse 5. For verse 9, the word security, a deposit of money was held as a bond to encourage Jason to uphold public peace in the future. The Gospel reading is from the book of John, chapter 11, verses 47 through 54. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered a council and said, "What shall we do? For this man works many signs. If we let him alone like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and nation." And one of them, Caiaphas, being high priest that year, said to them, "You know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish." Now this he did not say on his own authority, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation, and not for that nation only, but also that he would gather together in one the children of God who were scattered abroad. Then, from that day on, they plotted to put him to death. Therefore, Jesus no longer walked openly among the Jews, but went from there into the country near the wilderness, to a city called Ephraim, and there remained with his disciples. All right, some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible for verses 49 through 52. Caiaphas, being a high priest, is given the authority to speak prophetically. The failings and even wickedness of the office holder do not diminish the grace of the office itself. Here, Caiaphas means only that the death of Christ will spare the Jews from Roman intervention. God's meaning, however, is that all people will be saved through the death of the Son. All right. That is going to do it for today, everybody. Hope you have a blessed and productive start to your week. And I hope that you keep following along with me on these readings each day. And I would just ask that you please keep me a sinner in your daily prayers. Thank you.